with me would be in shock that their P&L didn't match their bank statements, but let alone they had no clue what the P&L was supposed to say. And they were embarrassed, full of shame because I should have known this. How many should haves have you told yourself when it comes to running your business? In the Wealth Accelerator, we tackle your financial strategy, a personalized money strategy, creating a spending plan so you know exactly where your money is going, where when it's coming in, when it's going out, and then the most important thing, you're paying yourself first. So many of you are taking all of your money and putting it back into your business or commingling those funds and using your business to pay your personal funds. Stop it. And if you want to know how to do that, click the link in the show notes to book your wealth activation call where we will take a look at your current finances and find at least $500 in capital that you can use to create a system that is customized just for you. Today, we are diving into a conversation with a badass. Renee Carbone Fleming is the founder of the Badass Queen and Sparkle Queens brand, host of the I can't talk today. Host of the Unapologetically Badass podcast and a personal branding strategist, helping women over 40 build visibility, confidence, and multiple streams of income. A 13 million plus sales leader in the direct sales world, Renee has built powerhouse teams while teaching women how to monetize their story, grow on social media, and create their own, I'm not going to say this word on live, FUCK, it fund. And that fund is fun because we need to have that money in our lives because we're working hard and we get to enjoy that money. I like to refer to this as my fun money account. We get to do whatever we want because we've earned it. We worked hard for it. Renee has worked hard and her brand has been featured on Fox, NBC, CBS, CW, Telemundo, and even on the NASDAQ billboard in Times Square. So we are recording this live from YouTube. So any bleeps and blurps and swear words, they might have to be cut. I don't know. Never had that before. So you can just bear with us. And if you're here live, let us know. I have a little message here that says when you're watching, if you leave a comment, I can go over and check that out and respond. So if you have a question, you want to respond to something, share something insightful that happened to you, that aha moment that you got during the live, fantastic. And if not, you obviously can watch this uh, when it goes live on the podcast interview. So thank you, Renee. I feel a little tongue tied today and a little twisted here with all this tech issues. But
Oh,
thank you
thank you
so
so much
much.
for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, for agreeing to go live. I know it's new to the I Date Money world to be live on YouTube while we're recording our podcast. So tell us, I'm interested, I'm curious to know, and I'm sure our listeners who mostly consist of divorced and single mompreneurs making multiple six figures who are, not having a dime to show for it. What was your before story? Like before you hit that multi six, seven, eight figure, before you got
Yeah.
involved with PR and business coaching, what was your life like?
So you said divorce, and that was the catalyst that changed it all for me. So I was a stay-at-home mom. My children were 12 and 9. In a previous world, I worked in corporate world and business, and I loved being a mom. And I knew that I didn't want to go back to work full time. So when the divorce was happening, I'm like, okay, what can I do that I can build, perhaps, because I knew that child support was not my financial life plan. So what can I do that would still allow me to have the flexibility and being soccer mom and dance mom and, have all the kids over after school. Like I loved doing that. And I knew that that was going to be such a short-lived opportunity that I wanted to make sure I took advantage of it. So
Mhm.
when the divorce happened, I found that Swarovski company, the jewelry company, had a direct selling division. So I was curious. It piqued my interest because my youngest daughter was a competitive dancer and we were bedazzled in crystals.
Mhm.
So I said, you know what, let me see if I can sell a bracelet and use this as an opportunity to help other moms fundraise to help offset their expenses. Fast forward, I've been there for over I think it was 13 years, built a multi-million dollar sales organization, traveled the world, free incentive trips, the whole thing. And that was amazing. And I loved helping other women build their effort fund. I want women to never feel like they're stuck. So
Mhm.
when I got divorced, like my ex-husband didn't think I could tie my shoes without him.
Mm.
So he was very financially successful. I was the stay-at-home mom. And so I had this like a lot of people doubted me, and especially in network marketing, direct sales, it has a negative connotation for a lot of people.
Mm.
So they're like, they don't feel like it's legitimate. Somebody who so and so was not successful, or they felt like they couldn't do it, whatever it was. So I had this innate inside watch me attitude. Like, you don't think
Mhm.
I can? Watch me. And I would put watch me, those two words on post-it notes all over my office, in my kitchen, in my car, on my mirror. I wanted my girls to see that no matter what happens in our lives, because ish is going to happen over and over again, and the longer you live, the more ish you go through. But it's how do you learn from it? How do you grow from it? How do you overcome it? And I wanted them to really see their mom be able to, do things my own way and still balance being, a great mom and being able to live with freedom.
I love that. I love the example that you set for your kids to show that you can do it. And those sticky notes are probably the most powerful tool that you had as a reminder. I know when I started this journey online, I had those sticky notes all over. And it's just like, yeah, I can do it. And my
Yeah.
grandchildren were just here for the weekend, and my 5-year-old granddaughter was like, well, I can't do it, Grandma. And I'm like, oh, you can do whatever you want to. It's just a matter of how you talk to yourself. And I'm like, let's put it together. And within seconds, it's as simple as buckling her booster seat in the car with a seatbelt,
Mm,
like, using that grown-up seatbelt and
yep.
figuring out, like, how to loosen up the leverage to get the snap to go in. And she didn't tell we didn't tell her dad that she was doing it, and her dad got in the car, and he's like, looks around, he goes, "Oh, you're buckled in." He goes, "Who did that for you?" She goes, "I did it." And she was so proud of herself. And this is
Oh,
it. We can do it. We can do whatever we wanna do. It's just that
yeah,
language pattern that we have to be so aware of. And, when entrepreneurs come to work with me, it's the first thing they always say is, "I make all this money, but I don't have anything to show for it."
yeah,
And I should have known. I should have known. But, like, when we keep telling ourselves, "I should have," we never. And
yeah,
now that you know that, you can't unknow it, and you get
right.
to make different choices. And I liked how you asked yourself that one question, "How can I? And what can
Mhm.
I do?" That is such a powerful question to ask, so your subconscious can actually do the work. And then you built up these sales in an industry, like you said, networking. Yeah, I started off I was an Avon independent rep going door to
Okay.
door.
Yeah,
And then I went into Young Living, so I'm, like, all familiar with the networking stuff. And
yeah,
yeah, and people would discourage you, "Well, you gotta build a team." Like, everywhere there is a team building concept.
right.
So if you think about every single business structure is set up that way. It's just the way that we receive it and interpret it determines whether or not we make it. Because you look at yourself in your industry, and like you said, compared to other women who just don't make it, what is the difference between you and them?
Yeah.
It's one word.
Grit.
Yeah.
So stubbornness,
Yeah.
because, in the beginning, obviously, so a lot of people give up, right?
Mhm.
It's too hard. Well, everything is too hard if you're not trained and you don't stick with it with consistency. If
Right.
you like drive a car once a year, you might get a little nervous the next time you get behind the wheel. That's the same thing. You got to work the muscles that you're building. So I was, again, that whole watch me attitude. I was too stubborn to quit, and I was too stubborn to fail. Those that stick with it and will work with it with consistency can grow a business 1000%. And what I love about network marketing is it can be a very entry level way of earning an extra stream of income
Mhm.
without having experience, without having funnels, without having to pay, but build a website, create a warehouse, all of those things. So I my stubbornness, my grit kept me there, kept me growing. I was the sponsor of the Miss America organization, me, not
Right.
the company, me. And that's because I just refuse to give up until somebody is like, "No, I don't want what you have," then okay. But until then, no, I'm going to keep going. I wanted to not only prove other people wrong, but prove myself wrong.
Mhm.
And, when I finally embraced who I was, because when I started, and I think a lot of people, a lot of women especially, fall into the trap of imposter syndrome and
Yeah.
thinking you need to, act like a certain way or speak a certain way, or how many copy and paste messages do people send? And when you get those, you're like, oh, that's gross, right? But people don't know how to be authentically themselves. I was doing
Mhm.
personal branding before I even knew what personal branding was. And
Mhm.
that's when I kind of created my persona. I was the Sparkle Queen, and everyone would send me Sparkle stuff. They knew me as the Sparkle Queen. I would get DMs with, Sparkle refrigerators and kitchens and cars, and like people would just like send that to me. So I was building my personal brand, which then allowed me to build and grow into building the Badass Queen personal branding and media agency. So through the pandemic, there were so many women that throughout my career would ask me, well, how did you build a multi-million dollar sales organization? How did
Mhm.
you go on 25 incentive trips? How did you do this? Right. And I love helping them, but I found that a lot of people outside of my company was asking for that help and that guidance.
Mhm.
So that's what made me, kind of pivot and build the coaching and the training programs, because I really truly want to help women, no matter whether they're in network marketing or not. They can be, plenty of other businesses. I coach those women, but I truly believe everybody needs a personal brand, especially in the society that we're living in now. We know that AI is taking over, and
Mhm.
AI is causing a lot of people to lose their jobs, right? That's the reality of it. But as entrepreneurs, I think you would agree, we all look at those obstacles as opportunities. So you go, okay, what's going to happen if I lose my job? These are for those people that work at JOB. Well, if you have a personal brand, what you're going to see is most likely that companies are going to actually hire contracts.
Mhm.
And if you build your personal brand correctly, then those companies are going to be able to find you. It's not going to be so much you sending in a resume. They're going to go, okay, who has got the presence to represent my brand for whatever job that you do? Engineering, accounting, it doesn't make a difference. Finance, whatever that is. And a lot of people are probably going to be hired for multiple companies doing contractual work or doing part-time work. And those with that powerful personal brand, those are going to be known experts in that field of industry. Those are the ones that are going to succeed. So I am really passionate about personal branding, and I know the importance of that, no matter whether or not they want to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, and it's so important to have that presence, that confidence, and to build something. And a lot of times, when entrepreneurs start their business, they want to, like, I want to be a life coach. I want to be, a guide. I want to be a mentor. I want to do this. But they've end up following this template that doesn't lead them in the right direction. They go by pieces. Like, well, okay, I need a marketing coach. I need a client attraction coach. I need a sales coach. I need a business. I need this. I need that. And so where would you suggest for somebody who's just starting out, like maybe they're working their 9 to 5 and they want to build up their, an online presence? What would be the best way for them to get started?
So the first thing, if somebody wanted to like pick my brain, I have a clarity intensive call. So they can sign up for a clarity intensive call, and we dive in and I ask them the questions in order for them to see, and we can figure out where they want to go. What do they want to be known for? So what is it that they want to do? And a lot of women that come to me, um, some women have experience with social media and in their business, but they need the clarity of going, how do I 10x it and bring it to the next level? And then some women come to me going, I don't even know how to make a freaking reel, Renee. So, and and I get that. And especially women over 50, right? A lot of us, I'm 56. So a lot of women coming into this space going, okay, I think that there's an opportunity. I think when we get to our age in the space that we are in our lives, so many of us reflect going, okay, my kids are grown. They may be out of the house, I may be an empty nester, or they're in college, and women are going, "Okay, what's next for me? What do I wanna do?" So then, I work with them in figuring out what lights them up and then how can we monetize it. Then we work on building their personal brand so that they're sharing authentically who they are, not just, ooh, buy this pretty little thing that I'm selling, right? Or it's not always a sales conversation or sales presence on social media for sure. But I help them build out that authentic brand and that conversation so that they can show up authentically and they can monetize their brilliance because everybody has got something to share.
Yeah, and it's always something that we're passionate about. I know a
Yeah.
lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in, well, I don't really know, I want to talk to everybody. I want to help everybody. Like you can't talk to everybody and help everybody. It's
No.
impossible. But there is, but we are meant for specific people. And when you
Yeah.
think about, I I work with a lot of multi-passionate entrepreneurs. So they get into a lot of things, and I like to call it the shiny object syndrome. So what happens is they lose out on the confidence, and you had mentioned like the imposter syndrome. I know for me, like I switched my niche 3 times, even though I'm like been in finance and insurance since 1987. I never felt called to teach in it because I carried $100,000 worth of debt, and I didn't want to look at that debt. I didn't want to, anything to do with it. But at the same time, I was building wealth, but I ignored that part because as humans, we tend to focus on the negative and not the positive and
Yeah.
all of that. And so when I started doing my own work, my own identity work, it felt like I was starting over. So when you think about rebuilding your identity and actually going through, what's the biggest lie that we believe about ourselves? Like for me, it was I can't teach finances because I carry $100,000 worth of debt. But that's exactly why, I
Yeah.
paid off that debt in 6 months, and that's exactly why I should have been teaching. But it took me almost 3 years to work through that imposter syndrome and have that confidence.
Yeah. And that's really good. It's imposter syndrome. We have to eliminate those words, just a.
Hmm.
For a lot of women, we're like, I'm just a mom, or I'm just an insurance agent. I'm just a financial person. I'm just a woman who likes coaching, right? And so they look at I'm just a. If we remove that and going like, yeah, I'm a coach. There are a zillion coach. Go ahead, look it up on Instagram, look it up on Google, ChatGPT. How many coaches can you find in finance? How many coaches can you find in business, in personal branding? There are tons. But what makes you uniquely you is your story, your value, how you approach things, who you are, what your values are, what you stand for, and like your personality. Like you and I was saying even prior to starting, like I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And I
Right.
get that and I appreciate that. What I was doing prior to being my authentic self was the fear of, what is somebody going to think of me, right? What are
Mhm.
they going to think when I started my podcast? What are they going to think? Like, who the hell does Renee think she is starting a podcast? Once I once I was at the point in my life where I don't give a what you think. I am who I am. I am authentically myself. Granted, I use AI photos, I use AI videos, so that's the flip of the coin, but we'll get into that. But I am who I am. Once you uh, unleash the expectations that either we put on ourselves or that we perceive other people have on us,
Mhm.
then it's like no holds bar. Watch
Yeah.
out.
And that and that's exactly what it is, we have to focus on what we're good at and
Yeah.
stop. We wouldn't talk to our family members like that, the way we talk to ourselves. We are
Yeah.
very discouraging, and we could really, I mean, within seconds you could talk yourself out of doing anything, but if we you can also talk yourself into doing something. And it's
Yeah.
that simple. It's such a simple strategy that we absolutely miss it. And when
Yeah.
we think about building wealth, everybody wants to make money. And
Yeah.
everybody gets to make money. We can make money very easily. There's thousands of different ways to make money,
Yeah.
but
But
holding on
so
to
many
that
women
money,
won't do it. They
right?
won't do it though,
Because they
right?
have a and my belief is that they have a fear of holding on to that money, because what happens as soon as you get the money, poof, it's gone, it
Yeah,
disappears. Because there's
yeah,
no plan, there's no strategy, there's
right.
no direction for that money, so it can't stay with you. And then it's discouraging. We go through the cycle and we get burnt out, and then it's like, oh, I got to start at square one. And oh
Yeah,
yeah, and then those repetitions, those things that we grew up with from, we heard from our parents, our caregivers, our teachers, whatever, like, we're not good enough. You
Mhm.
can't do it. See, you're a failure. And just being able to captivate those thoughts and say, no, you know what? Yeah, I made a mistake, but there's tons of people who failed before me and look at how successful they are. Everybody starts at zero. But
Yeah.
knowing, like, when you get into a niche, when you start to build your brand, if it doesn't feel good, it's not right. Stop it. Don't do it. It should
Yes.
bring you joy. It should bring
Right.
you peace. It should make you light up. And when you talk about it, it should be wow. And that's exactly what happened to me in 2021, 22, when I actually accepted the fact, like, I was doing post abortion coaching, I was doing client attraction coaching. And every time they'd ask me about money, and like all of our conversations would gear towards money. And I'd be like, why aren't I just teaching finances? And I
Mhm.
have like a list of excuses as to why I couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
like you said earlier, no, it's watch me. Watch
Watch
me
me.
do this.
Right? Because
And
when you have a PhD in whatever it is, passion, heart, desire, no matter what it is, if you have that PhD, you can absolutely not only grow a business, but grow a healthy business and become financially free.
yeah, that's a great reel. I love that. We all have our PhD in something.
You
We
know
need
that?
just to let it
Yep.
come to the surface and own it and
Yep.
be proud of it and confident and not
Yep.
worry about what other people are going to think or say. You had mentioned that earlier,
Absolutely.
like, being afraid to show up on social media because, oh, my family might say something. One of my clients in my aligned CFO mentorship had said, well, I don't want to use Facebook. That's where my personal family and friends are, and I don't want to bring my business into it. Then don't. There's other platforms that you can use. And if
Yep.
you're not comfortable, like Facebook, Instagram, those aren't just the only ways to promote and market
No.
yourself. You get to choose how you want to market. Like, there's so many different ways to do
Yes.
that. So tell
Yep.
us how you help,
Yes.
who you
So
help,
I
and how you help them.
I have been talking about the three-legged stool strategy for the longest time, and it
Mhm.
really is the truth. Three legs in your business. You're growing on social media, you're growing your email marketing campaign, and you're also having conversations. You are connecting with people online, and then you are having actual conversations. If you're only doing one or two of those legs, you're going to fall down. You really got to focus on all three. And so many people that are afraid of social media or don't know it, it's like there are two other legs that we need to work on. So have faith. You can build all three, but it's really important. And I even have a strategic video book that I'm happy to give the audience. It's a free
Oh, great.
tool. It's called the Badass Queen. I won't say, but it's a strategic video book, and I'll send you the link if you'd like. But that's a
Yeah.
free video tool on three approaches of helping you build your effort fund.
Yes. And if you don't have that, then why are you working? Why are you making money? It's
Yep.
I think so many people omit that because they don't think they deserve to enjoy the money that they do have, and
Oh,
they don't really pay attention and they just pay their bills. And I
right.
love to tell people out there listening, stop paying your bills and start telling your money where to go, how to
Yeah.
get there, and you'll always have money. You'll always
Mhm.
know it's true
Mhm.
wealth. So
Yep.
that's amazing. So tell us a little bit about what type of person that would be welcome. Like, we talked about, like, not we're not for everybody. And I
Right.
love your book. Did you mention your book about Watch Me?
So yes, I do have a book, Watch Me. That's my business so I have a couple of books on Amazon, and the first one is Unapologetically Badass. F the rules, wear the crown. I always like I have to catch myself to not say the word.
Yeah.
And that one is kind of like my story. The some of the ish that I faced, because a lot of times I felt compelled to write it because I want women to perhaps see themselves in my journey, because of what we share on social media is the highlight reel. So they see all the great and the fun and NASDAQ billboard and look at her doing this and this is great. And we share the wonderful things. We don't really share the crap that we go through.
Mhm.
And so the first book is, got some reflection points, and I, challenge the reader to see perhaps some of the ish that they've gone through and how did you grow from it and learn from it. and become the badass woman that you are now. So that was the first one. And the Watch Me book is the business philosophy. This is more serious. And WATCH is the acronym for withdraw from explanation. A is act before approval. T is take up space publicly. C is to commit without consensus. And H is to hold the vision when no one else does.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
that right there is the foundation. That really was the foundation. But once I didn't realize it was the foundation until I
Hmm.
really started thinking about it, and I'm like, "That's really the foundation of everything that I have." So I work with women that, like I said, typically over 40, over 50. Some of them are very successful in what they do, but they need to elevate it to another status. So between my podcast, between the network that I have, between the I have an icon series that'll be launching on Roku. That's a special invitation only show to really bring other people's businesses to the next level. And then I have my advisory private coaching, and that is where we really get them to the next level to get them to the seven figure business. And then I also have visibility coaching and opportunities with training programs, and that I walk them through things even like Canva, how to use Canva, how to create reels. I have my AI content studio. A lot of people, we talked about AI, a lot of people are afraid of it, or a lot of people use ChatGPT like Google, and they're not using it right. They're using it and they sound robotic. So I've trained GPTs, I've trained AI to help other women so they can just grab my content studio and it's basically done for them, to help them build their personal brand and social media content and all of that good stuff. And then I even have my Anthem studio, which I'm really excited about. It was a lot of fun. I created my anthem because with my speaking engagements, people would ask me like, what kind of song do you want for intro? And also for my podcast, I wanted something powerful. So I created my vibe, my Watch Me Rise anthem, which is super fun. So I do that for other businesses for women as well.
That's beautiful. I love that. I loved how you put it all together, and you're absolutely glowing talking about it. So you know that you're in your zone and that you're doing exactly what you were meant to do. And so thank you so much. Renee, tell us what's the best way for the audience to connect with you?
They can connect with me on any social media platform at Renee Carbone Fleming. They can go to my website at badassqueen.co, grab that strategic free book, My Gift to Everyone. We said before, rising tide lifts all boats, and I just want women to never feel like they're stuck, whether it's an ishy relationship, it's a ishy job, it's a whatever it is. So I want women to know that no matter what age, lack of education, whatever it is, they can absolutely do it.
Beautiful.
PhD, baby.
PhD, I love it. Well, those of you listening, I saw some viewers on YouTube. If you want to put a comment and share, we'll answer those post show. And just remember, like you hold a PhD. Like you have beautiful gifts and talents to do whatever you want to. It's simply just acknowledging that you can. You
Yeah.
can do it. You get to do it, and you get to be in that zone and contribute to the world. And the beautiful thing is, you get to make money well, you're doing something that you absolutely love. And yes, it's that simple. Not easy because your thoughts
Yeah.
are controlling the actions that you're taking to get the results that you want. You can make money, but remember, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's what you do with it.